guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and I wanted to do a probably not very quick review on David Cronenberg's most recent film, Maps to the Stars. It stars here Julianne Moore, who I like a lot, Mia Wasikowska, who I've never heard of, John Cusack, who I usually like, and Robert Pattinson, who has grown on me after Twilight. So anything after Twilight, he's actually not a bad actor. But, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are soured by him because of his silly vampire films. So, briefly, I just want to talk about David Cronenberg. There's a few directors out there that I keep an eye on their work, and anything they put out, I check out. David Cronenberg, David Lynch, Terry Gilliam, Guy Ritchie, and Vincenzo Natali. Vincenzo Natali did like Cube and Splice, Cypher, Nothing. Terry Gilliam did things like Brazil, Zero Theorem, Tideland, Fisher King, and David Lynch did, you know, Twin Peaks, and Mulholland Drive, and Lost Highway, and Blue Velvet. So these are and Guy Ritchie is another one. He did Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which isn't my favorite by him. Revolver, which I loved by him, but it's a very thought-provoking film that's not like his others. So anyway, the point of my story is these are directors that they put something out, I usually check it out. And the reason I do that is because in one way or another I either find it really cool or I find it very interesting and it makes me think. So I don't love all their films, but I always at least like all their films. So with Terry Gilliam probably being my favorite, I would say, but the other guys are close behind. So David Cronenberg initially came out with movies like Videodrome, which is like a cyberpunk, sci-fi horror movie, lots of weird shit happening, things not explained. He also did Scanners, which is another sci-fi horror movie, but very different than Videodrome. Then he did Existenz, I'm not going in order here, which was another sci-fi, like game within a game, almost Matrix-y type film, very cool. The Fly, which is sci-fi horror. If you haven't seen it, it's Jeff Goldblum, right, I believe. Yeah, great movie. It's a remake of the original Fly movie back from the, what was it, 40s or 50s or something. Great 80s horror movie. Creepy. Lots of like cool in-house like special effects. He doesn't do like a lot of CGI type stuff. It seems to be lots of practical effects. So I really always like David Cronenberg. His movies always make you think. There's a lot of strange things happening. Sometimes they're perverse, a lot of like sexual innuendos mixed in with like organic robot parts in his movies, just weird shit. So he did those. He also did something like The Dead Zone, which was a Stephen King book adaptation. I think this came out as a TV series at one point with Anthony Michael Hall, and then it came out, I think, a couple versions of the movie, or maybe just this one. This one is Christopher Walken. Cool stuff, weird, has some psychic stuff going on. So he went in that direction, which I would all classify as like a sci-fi, horror-y, thought-provoking. He then, out of nowhere, switched to things like this. A History of Violence, which is a, you know, mob movie about this guy who's kind of like pushed to the edge because he was in the mob, and they find him after he's already like, in I think like witness relocation or whatever, spoiler, and now he has to defend his family. Eastern Promises, another Viggo Mortensen one. This is really, really good. It's he's in like a Russian mob, and you know, they find this baby. What's her name? Naomi Watts, is that her name? She finds a baby, and she's trying to figure out how where the baby's mother is, because the baby's mother died, and it just so happens she got murdered by the Russian mob, and it ties all in, and becomes this big story. Great movie, but very, very different from his old stuff. So sci-fi horror is his old stuff. Then he starts getting to like these weird, like violent mob type films, which he's very good at, mind you, just very different. And then he started getting into things like this, which were a Dangerous Method, which is Freud and Jung and their relationship, and this woman that becomes their lover. You know, big cast here. Keira Knightley, Viggo Mortensen again, Michael Fassbender, excuse me. So he got into like almost like a pseudo-documentary type film about them. Really interesting, has a darkness to it, but not nearly as dark as the other stuff. Then he goes into Cosmopolis, which is probably most similar to Maps to the Stars, in my opinion, which was a book that he adapted to screen about Robert Pattinson being a rich boy from Manhattan, and he pretty much, the whole movie's inside of a limo, and he just has little interactions with people throughout the movie. His limo driver, his barber, his wife, who he's very weird with, lots of very weird characters and interactions. It's almost like a social commentary about losing yourself, and you have no real interaction with people. Lots of weird twists and open endings, sort of. So this is where I started liking Robert Pattinson. He's also in Maps to the Stars. He plays a pretty big role, but nothing huge, and in a funny turn of things, in this one, in Cosmopolis, he's in a limo, speaking pretty much to his limo driver, or whoever comes into the limo, whether it be a prostitute or, he has a trader come in and speak to him about where his equity is and stuff. In this one, he's a limo driver, so it's kind of amusing that he went from that role to this role. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but I would assume he did. It pretty much is the story, and now that I've explained all of that, which has nothing to do with this movie, I guess I was just trying to frame that he went from sci-fi horror to mob movies to now a dark, kind of slow burn type film. It's about a family, pretty much, though there are people that aren't family members, who is very, very fucked up. And they're in Hollywood, and Julianne Moore is the only one I think that's not in the family here. Well, Robert Pattinson isn't either. He's just a limo driver. But Julianne Moore is a washed-up actress trying to get parts, sleeping with producers, having three-ways, lots of nudity in the beginning of the film. They actually show the producer or director, whoever he is, having the three-way completely naked, touching himself, which was very weird. They usually don't show stuff like that in movies. So I was like, why are they showing this man sitting here touching himself while he's on the phone, waiting for these other two women naked in bed? It was just weird. And then Robert Pattinson plays the love interest of this girl, but I don't want to get too much into it. She comes down to Hollywood to reunite with her family, and her family is completely fucked up. They have a son who is, kind of losing it, and he wants to be the star of all these Hollywood movies, and if he's not the forerunner and the big name, he starts flipping out and fighting with people. You have John Cusack, who's pushing his son to be this main movie star so he can reap the benefits and the wealth of his son's income, and then his wife, who's kind of a wackadoo. And I don't want to give away too much, but it pretty much centers around different types of people in Hollywood and all of their fucked up tendencies. Is the movie great? No. It's definitely interesting. It's definitely Cronenberg-ish if you've seen Cosmopolis or even A Dangerous Method. It's maybe my least favorite of his films, but it's one of those movies that you can give a rewatch and you'll probably get more out of it. It's not like there's hidden meanings, but there's definitely more to it. And you can see each person in the film having some sort of mental issue, a breakdown, some kind of problem. So it doesn't make them normal where you can relate, because I think they're way far gone, but it definitely shows you this deeper seediness to Hollywood and to the movie industry that most people probably don't know exists. So it's very fucked up. All the characters are pretty much unlikable. I think there was maybe one that I thought was okay without giving away too much, but for the most part they're all scumbags. Even Julianne Moore kind of rubbed me wrong, and I usually like her in movies, but they all kind of made me feel shitty. I didn't like any of them. So it's really about a fucked up family dynamic, the fucked up Hollywood industry, and what people will do to be accepted in their family or not accepted, and just the underbelly of Hollywood, what people will do to keep the fame, keep the glory, keep in the spotlight. Whether this is the truth and how it really is, I don't know. I don't know anyone in Hollywood, nor have I ever been in Hollywood. Actually, I've been there, but I've never been there in terms of the acting community, It sheds a very weird light on it. It's a pretty dark film. Like I said, lots of nudity in the beginning, lots of fucked up characters, and pretty graphic language. Pretty fucked up things are said amongst themselves. Very weird role for John Cusack. I liked his acting in it. Julianne Moore, very distraught feeling. I liked her acting. And then the mother in it is, I don't believe her picture's on this. Oh yeah, it is. What's her name? She's British. I can't think of her name right now. Anyhow, it's this woman here. You've definitely seen her. She was in Dollhouse and a lot of other movies and TV shows. And it's good, but it's not what you'd expect from Cronenberg in the past. It's more of Cronenberg's now kind of films. I believe he also did Spider, which was an interesting psychological thriller type of movie. But it definitely seems like he's transitioned. It kind of feels like when you get like a band and you say their old stuff is really heavy, but now they're getting older and they're mellowing out. So it sort of reminds me of that. It sort of reminds me like he's transitioned from this like sci-fi horror to mob type movies to like dark, seedy type movies. He also did Naked Lunch, if you haven't seen that. That's a very weird sci-fi type horror movie based off of a book. But if I had to give it a rating out of a 10, I'd probably give 5 to a 6. I don't hate it. I do like it. It's something I will watch again. His movies always do that to me. I do watch his films over and over, which is another reason I buy them, because I know I'm going to rewatch them and check them out, because they've always got this weird, fucked up appeal to them. But if you are a fan of his old work, you probably won't like it. If you're a fan of his newer work, you may dig on it. It's more just, like I said, about the seedy aspect of these people and kind of what people do and their issues and their problems. So, thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.